What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another episode of CGX Cast. This is episode 67, and we got some stuff to talk about today. We are missing some members of the panel, and hopefully some of them join a little later. But we do have a special guest today from Thunderful Games, and if you guys are not familiar with that studio, they're the makers of Wavetale, and we have Regina. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Good,
It's a
good.
little bit late, but I'm ready for the podcast.
Nice, nice. Appreciate you being here and excited to get your input on some of the cloud gaming discussion pieces today.
Yeah,
So,
I'm happy to be here and happy to share my thoughts on the subject.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, thank you. All right, so before we get started, we're just going to break down what we're going to be covering on today's show, and then we'll introduce the panel, and then say hi to you guys, the viewers who are watching. So we're going to talk about Amazon Luna. As you guys know, they made some noise at the Video Games Awards, giving us some games coming to the platform. So we'll discuss those games, see where our excitement levels are for those games. We are also going to talk about ShadowPc. You guys know there's a big event coming for Shadow next week. We're going to speculate as to what we might see from that show. Google Stadia gave us the blog post for this week with a lot of information. So we'll break that down and see how we feel about some of the stuff that they announced with the blog post. And then I would say probably the biggest game release of this year with Halo Infinite released single play campaign for Xbox Cloud Gaming. And I know members of this panel has been playing a lot of that. And then last but not least, again, having Regina here, we're going to kind of ask some questions about her, the whole way this game came about and why Google Stadia is a platform, and just what her take is on just cloud gaming's future as a whole. So that is going to be what this show is all about. So excited to have you guys watching with us. But to get started, let's say what's up to the panel members, see what they've been playing and what platform they've been using to play those games as of late. So GTP, we'll start with you, sir. What have you been playing? What platform have you been using to play those games on?
What's going on? It's good to be here, man, as always. Well, you know me. Halo Infinite has pretty much been it as far as my personal gaming time goes. I have played a little bit of like Devil May Cry 5 on Luna and some Stadia games and stuff that we'll talk about more. But like my main focus has been trying to get some campaign done in Halo Infinite. I pretty much did a ton of multiplayer waiting, so I took a break from that and just focused on the campaign, which has been really good so far. Now, I'd say probably 40-50% of that time's been on xCloud, and the rest of it's been on the Series X, so been kind of spreading that out a little bit.
Nice. How are you enjoying Halo? Where are you at? Did you beat the campaign yet?
Not yet. Too much work, but like I'm probably about 6 hours or so. I like to clean up. Like I'm go around, clean up all the little tiny missions as I unlock new areas. That's how I like to do most like open world style stuff, is just clean up each little area as I go, so it takes more time to do the main story. But what I've played of it so far, definitely as someone who loved 1, 2, and 3, I'm really enjoying what they've done so far with this one.
Nice. So just curious, where are you playing it mostly? Would you say Xbox Cloud Gaming, or would you say
It's
Cloud PC?
it's split between the Series X and xCloud.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot on the laptop or the iPad when I'm away from the TV, and then when I get chilling on the couch, the Series X goes on, and that's where I spend the rest of the time at night. So,
Cool, cool. All right, man. GTP, good to see you in here, my dude.
cool.
So yeah, we like to save the best for last. We'll get to Regina here in a bit. But Gamer TV, fill us in, man. How has your gaming experience been? Where have you been playing? What platform?
Same as GTP. I've been on Halo campaign probably most of the week.
Okay.
I'm about 3.5 hours in. I put that down for a sec just to try Devil's May Cry 5 on Luna, and
Yeah.
that's been fantastic. So very, very happy about that. So I've been jumping between the two. Halo primarily in the cloud all day, every day, only because I'm on the go. So whenever I have a little moment to breathe, either in the studio or in an Uber or something, I just open it and go and play. So that's the beauty of cloud for me right now.
Okay, cool. How would you say Devil May Cry has been for you, man?
Oh, it's been great.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, super smooth. So it's tough for me right now because I love that game, but I love Halo. So I'm like, okay, where do I spend my free
Yeah.
time right now? So it's like, she's just too much to play.
Okay, fair enough. Good to have you on Gamer. Regina, fill us in. What have you been playing? What platform?
So after getting like super dragged into the arcane stuff on Netflix, the Netflix show, I've sort of fallen back to League of Legends, visiting that a little bit,
Ooh,
and
it's a fun
also
one.
picked up the Ruined King. Got so swept into everything again. So I'm like, okay, Riot, I need to visit your franchises again. Also a bit sort of swamped in work, but I'm so eager to get started on Life is Strange, True Colors.
Oh yeah.
Super happy. I'm planning on picking up on the Stadia.
Oh, cool. That's a great game. I'm so close to beating it. I just gotta get it done. It's a lot of games that came out that took my attention away from it, but yeah, pretty good to have you on here. Do you just want to let the viewers know kind of like who you are and what your role was in like Wavetale?
Oh yeah, so my name is Regina. I'm a senior designer at Thunderfall Games, and I've been working like throughout a lot of different things with Wavetale, but like my primary areas of ownership was the movement.
Okay, cool. And again, the last segment of this podcast, we're gonna ask you some questions, and look forward to just discussing the game and seeing how it was for you guys bringing it to Google Stadia.
Happy to answer that.
Yeah, good to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Duncan, are you ready, sir?
I suppose so. Hopefully you can hear me all okay. I major issues there earlier, but take it. What I've been playing. I've been playing on a load of things. I had a bit of played some Halo, biggest bit of nonsense going. I don't like it at all. I'm being serious, by the way.
Wait, you don't like Halo?
Yeah, I am not liking it. No.
Ooh, GTP, how do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely not surprised at all. It is not a Duncan game. So I'm just laughing because I'm like, of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't.
Yeah.
You guys listen to the games that Duncan likes every week, right? And I'm not knocking them. They're great games, but they're not Halo. He doesn't. That's just not his thing.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely not my thing. So I did give it a go. I am going to give it a bit more time and just to see if it grows on me, but it's not 100% for me to tell you the truth. But I've been playing on a load of different stuff. I completed Portal 2 this week. I was just replaying that because of the 3080. Absolutely brilliant there. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I've been playing so many games. It's actually I can't remember all of them. I got a couple of just to annoy GTP here. Actually got a couple of platinums this week as well on the PlayStation, so that's all good as well because GTP absolutely loves his PlayStation. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing games while I can.
Cool. And again, shout outs to you guys. You guys hosted the Cloud Gaming Awards, and man, we were just discussing earlier. A lot of work goes into that, man, and good stuff all around. And thanks for being able to come to the show right after that because it wasn't too long ago. So appreciate you being here, man. Good to see you.
No problem at all.
Yeah. And Holtz is I don't know if he's in the chat yet. He might make it, but if he doesn't, shout outs to Holtz. We see Ben in the chat. He's another panel member. He couldn't be here today as well. So shout outs to you, Ben. But just want to take a sec to say what's up to you guys who are viewing, and for those of you guys who are gonna be dropping later. Once you guys replay this, hi to you guys as well. Hell Monkey, shout outs to you, another panel member. Zero Games for me, good to see you, my dude. Maker of Chaos, good to see you. I think Hell Monkey has a word for you here, GTP.
He's
But
talking about my progress in Halo Infinite
oh,
campaign. Yeah, he
okay,
wants me to be
okay.
farther.
For Ali's good to see you, and he as well, Superdell. Oh, shout outs to Superdell. If you guys don't know who he is, he's also another content creator who covers the Cutter stuff. So the Netflix, again, we call each other like, brothers and sisters or cousins, or it's all in the family. The whole Cutter is not, necessarily need in a box, right, to enjoy content. Cloud gaming is that for gaming, and they're doing it over there with me as well. So shout outs to Superdell for dropping by today. Good to see you, my dude. I think we said what's up, and Ben, I see you. And again, hi to you guys who are going to be dropping in as the show goes on. But yeah, I've been playing Halo Infinite campaign, testing out on Xbox Cloud Gaming. It's pretty good, performs pretty well. And Duncan, to each their own, but the campaign is really good, man. I don't know why you don't like it, but shout outs to you again, to each their own. But yeah, really enjoying that. And um I'm playing some Tales of Arise, trying to beat that with the announcement of Final Fantasy Remastered coming to the Epic Game Store. That's gonna. So ShadowPc, you don't have a lot of space. Again, 250 gigs. So I'm very selective on the games that I play on there. So I only have 2 games, NBA 2K and Arc, Tales of Arise. So I have to beat one to be able to install Final Fantasy. So I'm trying to get done with Tales before Final Fantasy comes out. But yeah, that's been what I've been playing mostly. But yeah, it's good to see all you guys, the viewers and the panel members. We got a good show for you guys, so let's not waste any more time. Let's kick it off with the VGA. If you guys didn't know, the Game Awards happened this week. I just want to check in with the panel members, and I'm gonna open this up. Did anyone watch it? If so, what were your thoughts? What stood out to you? And just if you were to grade it, how would you say cloud gaming did for the VGAs? And what stood out to you for cloud gaming as a whole at the VGAs? I know it's a loaded question, it's a lot to be asking for you guys, but let's start with Gamer here. How was the VGA for you? Did you watch it? And yeah, what stood out to you, and where would you rate cloud gaming as a whole, performance wise, at the VGAs?
Yeah, I think it was decent for me.
Okay.
I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the entire broadcast in between, planning and doing things for the business. But I was impressed with Luma's presence.
Okay.
I wanted a little bit more from GeForce Now, to be honest.
Okay.
I did not expect Stadia to be there, so I wasn't really disappointed.
Okay.
But yeah, Luna really shined for me. That entire little, I guess, cutaway they had just let people know, hey, cloud gaming is here, and it's coming. The surprise game announcements, that was great. Reinforced my belief in Amazon's dedication to cloud gaming, and I think we're going to see big things from them in 2022. I can't guarantee it, but I've heard some good things. Some things were supposed to happen, in Q4 this year, but didn't take place. They pushed it off to 2022. So yeah, I'm super impressed with them. GeForce Now, yeah, it was whatever, but xCloud, Stadia, just not impressed at all. But for the entire show, it didn't do much for me either. So I guess overall, I was underwhelmed by everything outside of Luna's little cutaway.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for your take on that. How about you, GTP? How was the Game Awards for you? What stood out for you, and how would you say cloud gaming did as a whole at the Game Awards?
Yeah, so I let the whole 3-hour show stream here with me while I was working and stuff. And kind of like Gamer said, I don't think it was exciting. You didn't have any like super wow moments. They had some decent trailers to show. I mean, honestly, what I was probably most excited to watch wasn't even a game, it was a Sonic 2 trailer. So that's
Wait, the
I love
movie
the Sonic.
Sonic 2?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I just love what they did when they fixed the first movie and really, got a lot of faith from the gamers, and the movie did well, and now the second one looks really cool. So hey, I really like the trailer, but yeah, there wasn't much cloud presence, and I think we talked before, we weren't expecting a lot of cloud presence. It's still kind of niche and making its way. I guess if you're talking about the presence, Luna had the largest presence, even though it was small, like a
yeah,
really small
yeah,
cutaway. As
right.
gamers said, it was just a cutaway. But at the same time, like I said last week, at least they had a presence, and at least they were like, we're at least going to put in the effort to be there in some way. But I didn't expect xCloud or Stadia or too much other stuff going on for cloud yet. But I do think those presences from all these companies will grow over time, but we're just not there yet. Overall, the show was just kind of, nothing amazing. Sonic 2.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What did you think about the Sonic open world game that they unveiled there?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show a lot, but what they did show got me really interested. I really liked Sonic Adventure back in the day on Dreamcast. That's dating a little bit. That's when I played that game the first time, and I really liked it. And yeah, I've been waiting for like a really good Sonic game like that, or some kind of open world Sonic. And if that's what they're
Right.
doing, I think it'll be really good. So we'll wait to see what they do with that.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, it's good to see you in the panel, my dude. Thanks for jumping in. How are you, sir? You're muted.
Turn
Go
my
ahead.
PC up. So it was all the wires out anyway. So I was like, I had to join. So my PC is now hanging literally diagonal. It's just holding on to nothing. So all the wires are everywhere. So I was like, but it's good to be on. So the Game Awards, yeah, I actually watched it. I actually streamed it for the whole 3 hours. And I was really excited to see games like, Forspoken and Hellblade and Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad. But to me, I was looking out for them cloud logos. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I was like, come on, please, tease me. Show me what's coming in 2022. Please,
Right.
I will pre-order them straight away if you just give me a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but no, not. I mean, to be fair, the Game Awards never teased anything for any cloud platform really with the games I mentioned. So it was good to see that maybe all platforms or maybe no platforms will get these games going forward. So fingers crossed the news will come out soon.
Fair enough. A game that they showcased there that made me think about you a lot was Final Fantasy Remake coming to Epic Games on PC.
Oh, see, when I seen that Final Fantasy VII Remastered integrate, I was like, oh, yes, this is amazing. And when I seen it go to the Epic Store, I was like, oh, no, not the Epic Store, because, I've been harping on the last year about Epic and Kingdom Hearts, and that never came. And especially when we talk about GeForce Now, I think these games would be absolutely amazing and run absolutely amazing on the 3080 tier if Square Enix did push the likes of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 7R. So I was like, once again, I had my fingers crossed going, please. I know I saw a list a few months ago that maybe might have hinted that it could come. But I thought that was roughly a fake list. So when I actually saw it in the Game Awards, I was like, is it possibly? Is it going to come? Please come. But, I'm not actually going to get hyped up in case that my expectations don't get met.
Yeah. So 2 games from Epic with Kenna and Dead Stranding, both, where one's a PlayStation exclusive, right? Both are available in GFN. I know we missed Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think Sony had any exclusive, right? Or did they? I can't remember. But I don't know, there's little hopes, especially like with the leak that we saw with, Final Fantasy 7 Remake or Remastered coming to the platform. But little hope.
And also, when I actually seen that Sonic Frontiers, I just went. When I seen Sonic running that open world, the first thing I was shouted was Sonic Breath of the Wild. Oh please, I need this game as well. So
True.
there was a few little highs that got me in this Game Awards.
Okay, fair enough. Regina, let's check in with you. What's your take with the Game Awards, and did anything stand out to you?
Yeah, so I didn't have the opportunity to sort of watch it live, so I kind of catch it up later on. And it was a few announcements that really pop out to me, like the Thirsty Suitor, like Scott Pilgrim-ish game, like sort of really popped to me.
Yeah.
And of course the Slitherhead, sort of a huge fan of the Silent Hill series, especially the original 3 games. So it was kind of getting the Silent Hill vibes on that. Very hyped for them. And of course was super happy to see Hazelight sort of take the mainstay later on.
Yeah. Good stuff. I was talking to you before the show, and yeah, you were talking about how big of a fan you are of Silent Hill. And that Slitherhead game definitely, you can see some Silent Hill vibe in it. So it's pretty cool to see that, show up
Has some
for
really
you.
Junji Ito creepy
Yeah.
manga vibe. I love
Yeah.
it. It seems amazing.
Cool.
And in terms of cloud gaming, like
Mhm.
catching the recaps, that's sort of just picking up the highlights and it's just not even passed me by. I guess it sort of weren't caught in the recap.
Yeah. Like G2P was saying, not a lot of presence. And, maybe that's a topic of, conversation, right? Of how, cloud gaming is still in its infant stage, right? And so expectations shouldn't be that high for them to be at shows like this. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff overall. Let's get into the platforms, though. Again, we've discussed Amazon.
I didn't have to talk. Yay.
Oh, sorry, Duncan. I apologize. My bad. Didn't see you there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to get GTP excited here. The biggest takeaway for me from the Gaming Awards there, even though I was sleeping during them, because of the lovely time. I know you're getting worried here. I can tell. Was The Matrix. I just thought that was absolutely phenomenal. Playing that on my Xbox, that just shows you the complete and utter potential there. Yes, there's some issues that I had some frame rate issues there, but that is like, I want to play that on GFN. I want to see what that would be like on the 3080. That is where cloud gaming should really be looking at going there. That has got me so excited of where gaming is going. With the other games, there was a couple of nice wee announcements there, but we're seeing, I always say it wrong, Hellblade 2, we'll just call it Hellblade 2, absolutely class there. But there's I just liked a lot of these announcements. There was no, oh my God, this is absolutely outstanding sort of announcements from the Gaming Awards. But the interesting one for cloud gaming as a whole would be PUBG. PUBG's across all the different, or most of the cloud gaming services. For Stadia, that means it's going to go free to play on there. It is on Xbox, so it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with xCloud. And of course, it is on GFN, so that's going to add on another game onto the free-to-play list there. Regarding how cloud gaming was actually at the event, it was class to see that Luna had such a big, massive presence. They were getting there during the pre-show, and they were doing their ads during it. So we could see that. Xbox is Xbox. I think people have forgot here as well that these games go into xCloud. Hellblade.
I'm glad you said that. Keep going, though.
Okay.
I'll get back to that. Keep going.
Hellblade's going to the xCloud. We know that.
Crossfire X.
Crossfire X, more than likely going to xCloud. GFN had its game there, which was sort of teased beforehand. And Stadia was notable by its absence again. So that is the whole year. Stadia has not been at anything. They've not had a Stadia Connect. They have not been at E3. They have not been at Gamescom. And they have not been at the Gaming Awards either. So I think it is worth highlighting that.
Yeah. No, that's a good highlight for sure. So why I pointed that part out, people like when asked about cloud gaming as a whole at the VGA presence, a lot of people would reference Luna because, again, they were probably the only cloud that tweeted about it and said, we have a surprise coming. But what people fail to realize is pretty much every first-party Xbox game that was unveiled at this show is possibly coming to Game Pass, right? So the Hellblade since Luna 2, the Crossfire X that you saw, and I believe there was another Microsoft first-party studio games there. All those games are going to be coming to xCloud. So in a way, they didn't say it, but knowing that these games are coming as a whole in the cloud is quite exciting as well. But yeah, Duncan, thanks for your take for sure. Just really, uh, let me know if you guys felt this, but did you see Jeff Keighley at this show? Did he seem like amped up? Did he seem like excited? I don't know. It felt like, I think last year, it wasn't able to happen, but it felt like just having a live presence to him. You can kind of see like his passion about gaming, like he was just really excited to be the excited to, and when he'll make an announcement, like, I spoke to like the Slitherhead game, it's like, these devs asked me to showcase this in the show. Like you just see that excitement. And I don't know, it's really cool to see these events again, like opening up to the masses to attend again. I think as a whole, it was a success. I know, again, Cloud has a long way to go, but seeing hopefully E3 opens up again to the public this year, and these event shows opens up again. But yeah, Cloud again still in its infant stage, and hopefully going forward we'll see them make bigger presence in shows like this. But yeah, it's good to see it back and live again for sure. Anyone else before we move on to Google Stadia? Not Google Stadia, Amazon Luna. All right, so we're gonna kick it off. So as you guys know, like we've been discussing here, Amazon Luna sent out a tweet saying that they are going to announce some stuff at the Game Awards, and they did, right? So we got Devil May Cry 5 came to Luna Plus. We got Yakuza Life Like a Dragon came to Luna Plus as well. We had Adventure Time Pirates of the, I'm not even going to try and say that name, came to the Family Channel. And these other games coming as well, right? Judgment is coming December 16th, which is this week, right? We have Myst is also coming to 16th. And I think it's interesting that they highlighted the Rainbow Six Extraction, from which is going to be an Ubisoft Plus channel game. So what are your thoughts on this? We'll just open this up to the panel. How big of a move was this? Them, first of all, being present at the VGA, second of all, ending the year with all these games coming. And also they want to let us know, right? Chorus is available, Riders Republic is also available. So we'll open this to the panel and start with GTP here. What's your take on the Luna announcement this week?
So it's a little confusing and
Okay.
and mixed feelings, right? Because the smaller, slower moving of the cloud gaming businesses, right? That's US only,
point.
beta, not
point.
expanding. We're talking about how slow they've been the past couple of months, have the biggest presence at Game Awards and
That's a
announce
good
some
point.
pretty solid titles when you're looking at the games that everybody else is putting out. So I'm like, really? Like Luna Plus is the one throwing Devil May Cry 5 out and Yakuza out and Judgment, and we're going to get Extraction and that type of stuff. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good for them. Is it huge? No. We wanted to see expansion to other countries and areas. We want to see more channels. We want to see the service grow because we like what we see so far. But for them and for the size, like the scope that they are right now, it's pretty good between their appearance and this announcement. I think it's pretty solid for Luna considering where they've been.
Yeah. Good point with that, GTP. And so, Gamer, I'm going to call you next. And you probably can't give us the inside deets, but you did mention, and I listened. You did mention earlier when we were talking about just checking in. You said Luna, you knew about something. Again, not putting you in spotlight. You don't have to answer, but you knew about something that was supposed to happen. That's with this platform by the end of this year that didn't. And just want to check in on you with this. Like, what's your take on this? But with what you knew or know that you can't say, how does that all tie into this as a whole?
So essentially, supposedly they were supposed to push to other regions, and
Okay.
and along with that push, they were going to experiment with a resolution bump. How does it all tie in? It's pretty simple. I think they're super confident in their position with Luna. Number one, they're going to lean heavily on Prime, and I think just building the awareness through video game award shows and whatnot, and slowly adding titles. Another big thing with Chorus, right? That was day and date for a subscription service. So, that's going to happen more often and more frequently, and people will begin to see like, hey, well, I can spend $6 or $5, whatever it is, and experience day and date titles on this subscription service. That was written off a little bit. Some people actually thought that wouldn't happen. They're like, well, they'll get the titles later, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, heck no, day and date. And then the titles run extremely well. I haven't had one problem with the title on Luna at all. Never. It's, always consistent. They just don't miss, period. So I'm excited to see them expand and grow this thing. We said it a long time ago here that it's easier to catch up technology-wise. It's harder to catch up with libraries.
Yeah.
So technology for these cloud gaming services and cloud gaming, not even just cloud gaming services, but cloud service providers like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, the technology is a wash. I'm like, come on, man, they're going to catch up. Everyone will be at a place where they're like, we all have the same tech. We might have a few different stacks here and there, but at the end of the day, it all runs the same. We're all here. Now it's about the games and how you play them and what type of subscription services you offer the users to access the games. So I think Luna's positioned, excuse the pun, but they're in a prime position to really make some noise with their platform in 2022.
Okay, so you're not all too concerned, and it's the expansion and the quality resolution boost you talked about that being pushed back. I don't know. Thanks for sharing that, but yeah, it makes sense because that was what a lot of people were expecting to happen this year. But something that you did mention is that they feel confident with their position. And like we've said a lot, Prime is probably what they're relying on. And you've seen awareness was something else you mentioned, but you're seeing them make more people aware of Luna, right? You go on Amazon, it's pushed out. People are receiving emails. And even for a service that's still in beta, it's pretty cool to see them kind of pushing this the way they can push more, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty cool to see them at least being present at the VGAs, knowing how big, of eyes that are watching that show. But yeah, okay. Let's call on Duncan. Did we get on you here?
No, you haven't. But
Okay.
Here we go. Luna Games coming absolutely fast. Their subscription is just mad. Games that have just been added, not taken away as yet. And keep that up there. We don't want to see holes. So, no, keep it up. Yeah, with their talk going into the Game Awards, I'm actually neutral. I think they may have hyped it up slightly too much. I was maybe expecting something slightly a bit more, but I'm happy enough with where that actually is went through there. Of course, I want to get into the European expansion. I think the sooner they do that, the better, because we all want to get our hands on it over here, especially if we're going to tie it into Prime, as they have said before, and gamers sort of hinting at there as well. I just want to get into this. More games, the better. Playing them anywhere I want. You can't beat that.
True. Good take. And GTP, did we get it to you? We did. Right. No.
So it's just
Go
me
ahead,
then.
Alex.
To me, Luna's
and
being pushed.
Regina. Yeah, go ahead.
Luna's being pushed to the back of my mind for a long time because it's been stateside, and I was expecting them to come out in the VGA Awards to actually say that it expands into Europe. Part of me was like, maybe it could be a hit and miss in certain regions of Europe, but I did expect it to come in the United Kingdom. But then when they never announced that, I was like, okay, fair dues. You know, they're taking their own time. They're still in beta. I'll let them off. But then once I saw these games like Devil May Cry and Yakuza Like a Dragon and Judgment and Rise Republic, I'm like, damn, these are games that would actually get me to jump in the service in a heartbeat. So I was like, oof, only if Luna could drop me a controller off right now and I'll be happily playing Capcom and Sega games on this service. So to me, it sort of like refueled desire wanting Luna. So,
good to know. So these games kind of excited you. Again,
these games are literally all the games that I actually want to see on cloud.
Okay.
And I know that I've talked about Yakuza before on xCloud, but seeing it available on other platforms gives me the choice where I actually want to play it. And of course, you know, Devil May Cry. Yeah. Such an amazing game.
So I would have to say, Yakuza Like a Dragon on Luna, we are actually working on a comparison, but it runs way better on Luna than it does in Xbox Cloud Gaming. And yeah, you know, people are like, oh, it's already available in the cloud, but if it runs better on Luna, right? I mean, it just makes it a better place to play it. But yeah, good to see for sure. How about you, Regina? What's your take on these games coming to Amazon Luna?
I mean, first of all, there's some really exciting titles. So definitely interesting and great to see them on sort of the cloud. But yeah. I think in general, Amazon hasn't had I guess this is very anecdotal too, but Amazon hasn't had a great presence in Sweden ever. And Luna has been, to me as well, sort of very back in my mind. But it's great to see these bigger companies also making a move sort of for this market, because it's clear that it's a need or sort of a want to fill this niche, and very sort of fun to see Amazon making this play.
Okay. Good, fair enough. Are you wanting them to come to your area? Is this a service, if available in Sweden, you'll be excited to try out?
I feel to me, the core or sort of the most important thing with the cloud-based is convenience. And if they end up offering the most convenient service, then I guess it's going to be most to me personally, most interesting. But it all depends on the service they're offering, I would say.
True. Good point. Good take. So my personal take on this, again, I feel like it's good that they were here, but like most of you guys, I'm echoing, I expected there to be more. Again, they hyped it up, right? Twitter twice, right? To post about it. So I would think maybe, the 4K push or the multiple regions, but like Gamer was saying, maybe something interfered with that, and maybe that's pushed back to next year. But overall, just seeing them present here, letting people know again, this event had probably one of the biggest eyes in gaming this year, right? So just being here, letting people know what Luna is a good step for sure. But yeah, anyone else for Luna before we move on to the next segment? All right.
Yeah. Just one wee tiny thing here. I think it's worth highlighting that wee bundle. I'm not sure if that bundle's still available.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have actually picked it up. I've seen a lot of people in our cloud community out there going for that. I think that this announcement out there, putting themselves in that position and actually advertising themselves to the tens of millions who have been watching that as being class, gets more people excited. Rising tides, ships, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, true. Again, multiple bundles, right? They have a 5-stick 4K Max bundle. They have a tablet bundle. A lot of great bundles for sure. So if you were on the fence on, getting Amazon Luna, and if you're in the US and still are waiting for your invitation, just to let you know, if you do buy any 5-stick product, you're automatically in. So that's an incentive on its own too. But yeah, thanks for that, Duncan. Totally had that in the notes, but spaced out about it. So good stuff. All right, so we're gonna move on to GFN. You guys are gonna hear me say week more than one time this show with GFN because it is a week. But yeah, they had an update, right? Version 2.0.36, which should be bringing some improvements with Ubisoft Connect. Again, this is huge, right? Because a lot of the issue people have with GFN is the connecting. Again, you have multiple accounts that are connected with GFN. You have your Steam, you have your Epic, you have your Ubisoft Connect, right? And so having to juggle all these accounts can be stressful, but not only that, when one of them is a headache to log in and out of, it's even more stressful. But with this update, Ubisoft game launches automatically. We haven't tested it yet because we haven't got the app. But from what they're saying, the experience should be a lot more faster, which is a good thing because the community has been requesting that. But that's only for Ubisoft Connect, right? Another update that this brings, if you are a Mac user, it brings improvements to that. Again, Apple MacBook Pro, 1M Max. And you should be able to get this in here, 1600p resolution as well. A lot of improvement for Mac users. I'm not a Mac. Chief is. He probably would have been excited for this. But if you game on the Mac, just know that this update should make it a better experience for you. But let's move on, right? Let's talk about the games that are releasing for this released in this platform this week. Not a lot, but A Train All Aboard Tourism is 1, White Shadows is 2, Monopoly Madness is 3, Anno 1404 History Edition is 4, Prison Architects 5, Super Macbot 6, and Untitled Goose Game. So those are the games for GFN this week. So I'm just going to open this up to the panel members. Let me close that. Start with GTP here, man. What's your take on these games coming to GFN and also just GFN news for this week?
You want me to say week, don't you?
It's a week, man. Be real with the viewers, man.
Be real. No, I actually, as far as game releases for the kind of games me and you play, the releases are going to feel weak for us. I think the app update and the Ubisoft Connect thing and that type of stuff is actually a bigger deal than the games coming out. I know a lot of people commenting, Mac users, that aspect ratio being fixed is a big deal for them, for the Mac. So that's really cool.
Right.
I'm a Monopoly nut, so yes, I will play Monopoly Madness to try it out. I'll probably play it with the wife and whatnot because every now and then, because she doesn't game at all, I'll find something that will bring her in and that we can play a little bit. It's usually something like Mario Party, but I'll be able to get her into this too. So, that would be the only game that I'll say, okay, I could actually get her to play, so I will play that. But yeah, it's nothing super exciting here, but I think we know that from the December roadmap altogether. Nothing super, really big on there, just filling out the library. And I really think they've been super concentrated on all the 3080 launch everywhere and more resources in making sure that rolls out as successfully as possible and getting that out and to where they consider it caught up or done or successful. And then I think we were talking last week that coming into next year after the holidays, we're going to want to start seeing the bigger games roll in again. We want to start seeing EA games come back and that type of thing. So I think even for the next 3 weeks or so, we're not looking at anything major as far as game releases unless we get some surprises.
Yeah. Let's talk about surprises. Again, VGA just took place. 2 games that we know is coming. Actually, 1 for sure, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this leak of Shenmue 3 coming as a free game to Epic Game Store next week. What do you think we'll see, or if this come to GFN?
I know you were talking about that. I know you want to see both of those titles really come. Man, it's so hard to tell. You think you can call it because you see past releases, but then they come and go and they don't get added, and it's really hard to tell. I have no idea. I kind of suspect we could see Final Fantasy, but I feel like that's almost too good to be true. I don't know. If So, I mean, because we all do want that so badly as a day and date for them, I think we want it too bad, so it's not going to happen. But that I would like to see it for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Was Arc Raiders the game that had the GeForce Now logo at the VGA?
It was.
Yes.
Yes to that game. Yes.
It looks good. Not gonna lie. Regina, what's your take on these games? Yeah. Are you familiar with GeForce Now and these games coming to the platform?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I've tested the GeForce. What is it called? The new for GFN.
Yeah, GFN.
And
yeah.
I think this is going to be my recurring theme, but convenience. Like for me, it's all about the convenience.
Yeah.
And these are some like fun games. I love the Goose Game, but it's also not the games maybe that I expect like a GeForce to stand behind. Like it's not the real powerhouse in terms of graphic or you know.
Sure.
And that's something I think is so amazing with the cloud, that you can have like you can play all of this super crazy title on your phone, and like the first time you do it, it's so am I playing Cyberpunk on the phone? Like, is it really happening?
Yeah.
And these are more the title, you know. Yeah. These are a little less high fidelity titles. But to me, GeForce N, like in general, it's the queuing system doesn't really do it for me. You know, I want to pick something up now. I have like a little time in between, and I just don't like waiting for stuff. And I sort of haven't committed to that ecosystem, so I have no bigger subscription or so.
Yeah, fair enough. And you echo what a lot of members in the cloud gaming community say about the platform when it comes to convenience. Right, this is an area. I mean, with the update that we just mentioned, seems like they are working to improve it. But the wait in, especially like if you're trying to use the free tier, is an issue for GFN. But yeah, and like you were saying, right, this game list doesn't look like, if you're talking about GeForce Now or GeForce in general, right, you're expecting like AAA powerhouse games that push the envelope, right, and seeing these games is like Untitled Goose Game on a 3080, right? What? But yeah, okay. Hear you in that. Thank you for your input for sure. How about you, Holtz? What's your take on the GFN news for this week?
Well, I wasn't expecting much due to the holidays, because I know everything's already been announced. And usually I come into this each week and go, oh, it's not my games. And this week I'm going to say exactly the same, not my games. I got my 3080 activated this week. They actually give it on time on the day they said. They took the money out when they said, and they gave me Crisis promotion. So I got that free, as they promised. So I dived into GeForce Now, and I went back on the games that I knew I was buying for the subscription. So Greedfall and Death Stranding and stuff like that. So I've been enjoying the service from my titles, and I've been staying away from all the games I would actually say was digital clutter. But when I actually seen the VGA Awards and I seen Final Fantasy VII remake, I just thought, please, GeForce Now, if you ever want any kind of redemption, just bring this to me. Please. I'm a selfish gamer. I just need this experience, and I will be banging the drums up to the heavens going, GeForce Now is the best service. Maybe for a week or two. And if they actually do get that service, it gives me a game. It actually gives me hope that they might actually bring another game that I want in the start of the year, which is Monster Hunter Rise. So the more they start building momentum up, the more I'm start going to get hyped by trusting what they could bring in the next 6 months. If they drop the ball, I'm going to be coming in here the next 6 months going, until actually a game actually sticks with me. I mean, I've had a flawless experience with the 3080. It runs great. The games that I've got runs amazing, and I wish we all just can support this. But like I said, I can only support a platform that's got the games that I play.
Yeah, Holt. When I saw this game at the VGAs, this first thing that came to my mind was like, GFN, you need to get this. I mean, this will redeem everything Holt has said about you. Just
and
make it happen.
They can even put it on Twitter. They can put like hugs and kisses. Holtz, this one's for you. And then we'll be fine. We'll be best bros. You know what I mean? And I'll be going in 2022 just speaking high praise.
Yeah.
High praise. Come on, it's the Christmas season, and you're working with Epic. Just get it. I'm sure everyone will be doing backflips.
He has the hat on for you guys in this show to
Yeah, just-
GFN. Let's make it happen for
let's
the
all
guy.
let's all be helping each other. Come on, come on, GeForce. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah. Great to have your take on that holds. How about you, Gamer? What's your take on the GFN news for this week?
Regarding the games, I would have to say it's extremely weak for me personally. I won't touch any of this. Monopoly, I don't care where it is. If it's digital, I'm not touching it. That game is so, just, man, when I roll the dice, right? I gotta feel that, man. That's an experience. I can't click a button and trust I'm gonna hit the number that I just can't do it. That isn't me. No. So extremely weak. But in terms of the user experience, that's where, and I really try to focus on the user experience. GFN has the worst. That you just cannot beat. There's no way around that. I understand their market is PC, and PC gamers are more accustomed to do this and then do that to make this happen. But general gamers, man, come on. I just want to click, I want to play, and I'm done. I want to put it down when I'm done and walk away. So the news with Ubisoft is great. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm sure this was on their roadmap a long time ago. They're just iterating towards the complete vision. And I can also see this vision unfold into something more like, well, now we have a pass-through payment service where you can actually buy the games here in some sort of GeForce storefront, and wherever the game is hosted via Steam or what's the other? Epic, right? There'll be some sort of pass-through service where you buy the game here, but then it connects to Epic and do all of that for you. Without this login issue. So yeah, but I'm sure it's on the roadmap and it's going to take time to get there. But no one really drops a platform or a service feature complete. They iterate there over time. So we'll continue to see the updates and the services get better, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, once they do that, GFN will have my full buy-in in terms of a great cloud platform service for everyone. But today it's just good for a certain group of people.
Okay, so you're echoing what Regina was saying about the convenience and user experience. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. That matters. Okay. That matters. Even on the same level, or even more so than the power behind the service. The user experience matters way more than that.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, the panel members, did we get everyone? Duncan, I see you. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, you just left me the last because you think I'm going to put something positive here. And yes, I am going to put something positive here.
Are you? Okay.
Yes. From a couple of weeks ago at the Thunderfall event, a couple of games stuck out for me, and White Shadows absolutely did. It is like a limbo sort of like inside, and you go, what about the power? This game is only available on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. It looks absolutely class game and something definitely right up my alley. It just looks a lot of fun. Just something right for me. Again, this week on GFN, I said this weeks and weeks ago. I didn't think we were going to get much out from GFN until next year, just because of the 3080 and how it's probably taking resources away and you're concentrating on that. So this does not really shock me. With the games this week, just remember you're getting two free games this week. You've got Prison Architect. That has got thousands of people playing that every single day on Steam. It is a pretty decent game. I enjoyed it as free and Epic. We also got Anno 1440 on Ubisoft Connect, and I'm telling you now, we've probably got another free game in this with entitled Goose Game with the Epic free games. Looking like that's going to be happening. I think that's nearly nailed on to become an Epic free game over the next couple of weeks during that. Again, I don't think it's oh my god, this is an absolutely amazing week. I think this is one of these GFM weeks which is a bit weaker. There you're getting me saying a bit weaker. but they are still being consistent. They are
Why
still.
don't you just say week, man?
I don't think it's a really weak week. They've got a game there I want to play in White Shadows. White Shadows looks an absolutely class game to play. Regina, cover your ears here. I'm just about to say something you don't want to hear. I think it's overpriced, but I'm going to wait for that on sale because for a 2 to 3 hour game, I just feel that's a bit much, especially in these times where we're living in. If it was a bit cheaper, if it was the sub £10 mark, I would be all over that. I know we're only talking a fiver, but it's, you know what it is, a psychological sort of thing. It's getting into that. So again, I think it's a weaker GFN week, but if you were to get these games on another cloud platform, you would be saying it was a decent sort of week. But it's a weaker week, but not completely and utterly, oh my God, it's awful, because there is a game I want to play there. And I just want to shout out this. If you want a load of games for GFN this week, go to Humble Choice. There is a ton of games there that you can pick up and play on the platform.
Fair enough. Thanks for your input. Yeah, I think, a lot of the stuff you guys said here, I'm going to echo. This wasn't the strongest week yet. But again, when it comes to features, like Game and Regina said, making it easier for consumers, making it more convenient, it's the way to go. So shout outs to them. They know, that's been requested by the community a lot. So it's pretty cool to see them take that into account. But I have a feeling, guys, that we're not done with GFN this year. I know people like holidays coming, Christmas coming, New Year's, but they're going to go out with a bang. Watch. We're going to come here next week. We're going to be talking about the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3. Watch, they're not gonna just go out without releasing something epic. So mark my words, man. We'll come back here. We'll be talking about something epic next.
Great pun. I think it is going to come from Epic if it's anything. It'll be on the Epic Game Store.
But I do have to say that Ubisoft Connect feature actually saved me a lot of time now, because my password is like 14 characters long, and that Ubisoft password, I always make a mistake, and once it clears the password box, I always start it again, and I feel to myself, why don't you just get into the bloody service, will you? So I'm actually glad to see it now. It's actually going to be a lot more smoother for Ubisoft titles.
There you go. Again, it's huge. It's a lot. That if you were to ask a GFN or
because I'm not really a keyboard mouse type of guy. I'm a Joy-Con type of guy, a controller type of guy. So it takes me ages just to start scrolling the box down the virtual keyboard. So it's actually, to take that on the go and have my Ubisoft games connected easier is actually a lifesaver for me.
Yeah, it's big. It's big, and cool to see them roll that out by the end of the year. So. Good stuff. All right, we're going to move to Google Stadia. We're looking good in time, actually. So good stuff, guys. So let's talk about Stadia. A lot was announced for this platform this week. Again, you can now play Stadia in your LG TV. And again, this brings 4K HDR 60 FPS and immersive 5.1 surround sound, which is awesome. Pretty cool. That alone should be talked about a lot, but good stuff for them. Again, Bungie celebrated their 30th anniversary, which if you into Destiny, shout outs to you guys. You can pick up a awesome Galahorn exotic rocket launcher. The Galley's back, man. I used to Destiny 1, that was my favorite weapons. Pretty much a cheat code, but it's good to see Galley back for Destiny. Jackbox Party Pack 7 released, if that's something you guys were interested in. I played 8 for Thanksgiving with the family, and that was really good. So again, pretty cool to see them bring in more. The family loved it, so I'll probably pick that up. We have some release date, right? Animal Royale is a game that a lot of people have been waiting for. That's going to be coming December 14th. a game released, Chicken Police, which looks creepy as hell, I'll be honest with you, but looks fun too. I've been watching some people stream that game, and my goodness, it looks good but weird, right? And let's keep going here. Monopoly Madness released Assassin's Creed Remastered is coming on the 14th. Again, a lot of stuff here. 925 released on December 8th as well. A lot of stuff. Wow. Decent update coming to Spirit Fair, Jack and Daria, December 13th. If you guys play that. Kratos getting an update. Blazing Monster Machine released. And as you guys know, Chorus released on Stadia, which is an awesome game if you guys haven't played it yet. And Unto the End is coming for pro members December 10th, which is available now, right? And Dead by Daylight is getting an update. So, my goodness, talk about a blog post from Google Stadia. I would have to say that's probably one of the better ones this year. I mean, a lot of meaty content there, but let's check in with the panel and see what you guys have to say about Google Stadia and the blog posts. We'll start with Holtz.
So I've not really been playing much Stadia this week because I've just been distracted by something else, which we go later on. But I did actually try Stadia as a native app on the LG TV launch, and I actually booted it up, and it runs butterly smooth. Absolutely amazing. The best performance across all devices that I've played. So I went back and I played like Mortal Kombat, Grid, I tried Final Fantasy, I just tried different genres just to see if I can actually see if anything lags, and it just absolutely ran amazing. And of course, I couldn't just play it at 1080. I know it's got upscale, so I actually bought Stadia Pro again just to have the 4K fidelity. And do you know what? I'm really glad that I don't have any extra hardware to actually run Stadia now. And I've got the option to use the Stadia controller, the Xbox controller. I've got the accessibility to use whatever controller I want. So it was good all around. So I've not been playing games myself, but I dropped into a few people's streams. So Clive Illidan's stream, and I watched that chicken game, and it just reminded me so much fun, like something like Sin City meets The Wolf Among Us and stuff like that. And I was just laughing at all the animal jokes. And I thought to myself, I need to literally dive in and play this game myself. Yeah. So I might actually swing around when I've got time to play it to actually try that game. So I welcome to see this kind of humorous game on the platform.
All right. Like I said, the game looks weird, but good. But yeah, I'm glad you thought of it as something you might want to try too. But cool stuff. Good to have your take on here, Holtz. How about you, GTP? What's your take on the Stadia news for this week?
Yeah, I actually think their last blog and this one for the end of the year have been pretty good, right? They've had a lot of different titles added. We had a ton of Pro last time, so whatever they're doing to change these around, I don't know if they'll stay like this. I feel like this is the end of the year. Stadia just drop everything that we can. As we go into the holiday, but there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And I have to say, as far as the list of games, just Chorus, man. Chorus is a gorgeous game, and it runs really well on Stadia at 60 FPS. So if I'm picking one game on this list to tell somebody to grab, that's the one.
Yeah, it runs really smooth, and it looks good too.
I am curious about one thing, because Holtz has used Stadia on the LG TV and I have not. Yeah. But I hear a lot of people talking about the performance is really good, but they're not liking the disconnect of there not being the store there. So I guess you still have to go and do your purchases elsewhere, add them to your library, then go on. And that's not cool. I do want to see them update that soon, but of course it just dropped, right? So they'll probably add that eventually. But I kind of found that a little disappointing. That's people love the performance, but I heard a lot of complaints about that.
Can I ask, because I know that was my experience playing Stadia with the Chromecast CCU, right? You need to use your phone. I thought they haven't updated it yet, huh? So you still need to use your phone to purchase game. Yeah, they should just add a store.
To me, I've been saying this for over the years. I don't actually buy my games from the storefront through hardware like the PlayStation 5, Series X, because I'm always on the go. My work, I always pull out my mobile, open the app, go to the storefront via that way, put my thumbprint, boop, my payment goes through, and I just find that a more of a convenient way. So with Stadia doing that, I just open the app, buy my game, and then when I get home, I ask the assistants, or I just turn my TV and I use the assistants on the remote and go, open Google, Mortal Kombat 11, and it just runs instantly. So by the time I actually lean over and get my controller, I feel it's more convenient than, boop, turn the console on, dragging all the cursors to the storefront, filtering the storefront, click buy, enter my details, or click and accept, doing a verification process. I just find it's more convenient for the likes of me just to do it through the mobile.
Yeah, that's not bad, but for a lot of newer gamers too, that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Like they get their new TV, they don't even know what Stadia is necessarily. They fire it up and they're like, "How do I buy a game?" And then they got to go, figure that out. So, it's got its goods and bads. But I don't like casting either. So, I know Holtz loves to cast.
Yeah, I love that. I love that casting. It's the future. I don't need to be dragged back to like simpler methods. Like I just like, and I would love to sit there and say to my assistants, blah blah blah, buy this game on Stadia, and it goes, do you want to buy this game, Assassin's Creed, for £15? And I go, yes. Enter verification codes. I just think it'd be more simple if I can just speak to my assistants to buy games.
You'll actually enter your credit card info.
No, because it's already stored on the Google side, won't it? So that it'll just ask me for a verification pin, so I go blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean that.
Then of course
that can come, right?
And then of course I'll have notifications on my email that if someone tried to purchase something that I didn't, all I have to click is not me, and it just refunds me.
True. That's a feature that can come, but yeah, I agree. That should be a thing. Hopefully, something that is worked into. It seems like it's from just the Google TV side or the TV side of things, because I know for if you're playing on mobile, you can. If you're playing on with your desktop browser, you can. So it just seems like the TVs, again, the only place where you cannot purchase games. They don't have a store if you want to go that far. But let's check in with Gamer TV, man. What's your take here?
Yeah, like GTP said, the only game that I'm touching here is probably Cores. But I did try 9 to 5, right? Just because I tried it on Steam a little while ago, and yeah, it's a buggy mess. But like I said, my entire theme throughout this entire podcast has been give these guys time to iterate on things. Let them take it from point A to point B to point C. It's just that, as gamers, we're into that instant gratification thing. So it's like when you release it, we're like, oh my God, this better be feature complete, right? It better have this, it better have that. But, when guys, the product owners and the designers and engineers are actually, ideating on something, they're taking their time to say, hey, what's the MVP that we can release to everyone with a base concept, base idea, collect data on how people use this stuff, and then we'll make the best decisions for later, right? Or maybe we'll pivot left or right or whatever it might be. Although there are core components that, an MVP product should have when released, but end of the day, we got to give them time to, fix things and fulfill that original vision. But yeah, so Course is the only game that I'll probably touch on this list consistently.
But cool. I mean, here's me as a type of gamer. Once I actually played Stadia on the native app up to 4K 60, I was like, damn, total respect to Stadia delivering this experience, because the competitors are only doing 1080 60 in beta apps. So it made me think, wow, maybe I should start focusing myself back with the Stadia library then instead of actually expanding somewhere else until these services sort of catch up with their promise, because both GeForce Now and Stadia did promise roughly the same time this year, and they released at the same time, and it looks like that Stadia put the extra bit of love with their LG partnership than anyone else, so they get total kudos to me.
Yeah.
For me.
That's a good
I think it was
point.
easier for them too, though. Like, I think it was a lot easier for Stadia to roll that out because of their experience in general.
Yeah,
with
if it was more Android based, I would have said
Yeah.
that. Because it was more WebOS, it was all hands down who could actually work with the partnership first.
Google, man, it's Google as a brand. I mean, they have that stuff on lock. But here's my problem though with Stadia. All the good stuff that I just set aside, my problem here is I believe it isn't as prioritized, right, as it was back in the day. I think Google's really just trying to find product market fit for Stadia. simply because Stadia is in a very unique position today. It's a lot tougher for them because they're going after the console crowd or the gamers that probably stopped gaming for a while and now they're back or whatever it might be. Whereas GFN, they have product market fit. They know where they're going. They're looking at the PC crowd, and Luna, they know where they're going, right? They're going to attack their Prime members or market to their Prime members. Stadia, it's a little tougher for them to find product market fit. So it's going to take them time, and I can understand why they're slowing down and really trying to refocus or repivot how they approach the market. At least that's what I think they're doing. Now, if something else is happening, we don't know, and we can't really assume. But I believe they're just slowing down to refocus and try to find a good product market fit, some way to get back in this thing.
Gamer, I'm glad that you said that because the segment I was actually thinking about possibly putting in the show notes is this, because after the VGA Awards, right, you guys saw there's another Google service that was pushed there a lot, which is Google Play Games, right? And so it's like, interesting. So I actually opened up Google Play Games to test it out because something connected with me when I saw that. I opened it up, went on the Android app. It has 1 billion downloads, right? And then again, they pushing it there. And so I just went on it to see, like, can Google Stadia actually be incorporated into this, right? And then they have sections to where you don't even have to download the games anymore. You can literally click a game and stream it instantly from Google Play. So my thing, you're talking about like product placement, right? Again, all these guides have the target. Amazon has Prime they can target too. NVIDIA has a PC base, and Sony, Microsoft, they all have their own, base. I think Google can tap into Play, right? They have 1 billion already downloads, potentially users, probably even more than that. If they somehow manage to like fit Stadia in there, maybe rebrand it, market it something different, I feel like they have something there. So it's not like end all for this platform yet. I feel like they just have to find where to take it. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. Again, we know someone new came into the cloud, they're shifting stuff around. So I'm curious if this is the avenue that they might possibly take. But what are your thoughts on that?
Good point. I mean, I think that would, for me, if I ran Google, that would be the obvious audience that I try to tap into. I'm not sure. They just fumbled Stadia in the beginning, right? They just flat out dropped the ball. You don't come swinging for established consoles. You just don't do that. You try to find your product market fit, and they misfired. So I definitely believe you go where your current audiences are, and find some way to integrate that, and slowly collect data. It's all about data. I mean, Google, they're the kings of data, or one of the kings of data. So I totally believe as you grab that information, they'll be able to make better decisions moving forward with the platform. So when I see them slow down to a crawl, we can be disappointed if they weren't here or weren't there or didn't do what we expected them to do. But smart people that run products for large corporations, they're willing to throw something out there, collect the data, sit back, think about it, and make the best decision going forward. Is that happening with Stadia? I don't know, but that's what we can assume. Just the same as we can assume the bad, right? We have to take the other approach and say, perhaps they're just looking for a good product market fit to make better decisions later.
Possibly, yeah. Good point. Let's not spend. I love it. I wish we had like 3 hours, but gotta respect time here. We can be here for days. But Regina, what are your thoughts on just Google Stadia announcement this week?
Well, once again, I'm happy to see the sort of they're adding these apps to the TVs and just trying to, I don't know, make it available. Once again, it's making it convenient for players. And Stadia is one of those platforms that's very easy to, I guess that's true for all cloud gaming, but I've sort of been tricked into the Stadia hole. But it's very easy to sort of introduce someone who's not usually into gaming or doesn't have a rig, and having it on the TV, it's very convenient to be able to say like, hey, just like download this app and like here's the game. So that makes me very happy to see.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad to see sort of, once again, I think you were really onto something there, talking about the market, I guess. And I guess this is true for all cloud platforms. They're kind of trying to figure out where sort of the blue water is, like what are the audience, like who is interested in cloud gaming, what demographics, what targets. And like I'm really happy to see like a lot sort of kid-friendly game coming to Stadia too, because I think that's also sort of a potential market or a potential platform for that sort of games.
True. Good point. Thanks for that. Anyone else that I didn't call on for Stadia? Duncan, this is the third time I'm not calling. There's probably something going on subconsciously, them know, right? But let's get you in here, man.
I think you just want to leave me to the end because you don't know what I'm going to say, basically, and you just go.
No, you good. No, after a long show that you did, I just want you to rest as much as possible.
Yeah,
so
of course. That's what it is. You just want to keep the madman to the end to get your controversial comments.
You're good.
Okay, I'll start off with a controversial one. What you said about the LG, going to LG, that's a major, massive thing. We didn't make a big song and dance when it went to GFN a couple of weeks ago. So it's good that Stadia is actually caught up with GFM in regards to that. Another kind of little shot there. But overall, I think this is actually, this is what we've been asking for, or some of us have been asking for with Stadia. If you haven't got the news, you save it up and you give the appearance that there's a lot more going on than there really is. And this is absolutely good to see. And I think it's a solid sort of blog post for Stadia. We've got the dates of some of these games coming out. We're talking about Chorus again, even though it came out last week. But I'm just happy to just to see that there just seems to be something going on there. So again, I think it's a solid enough sort of blog post. Stadia is in ticking over mode, and let's just hope something comes out next year. With the Google Play scenario, I think there's a lot of things what we say 100% makes sense, but it's Google. You just don't know what is going to go on there with Google, and if everything's going to be talking to each other. And I think that is the biggest issue that Google, the company, has, and with Stadia being its own wee silo, we just want to see it all come together, and we all want that to happen. And going into Google Play, people have talked about that before. It does just make sense. There you go. You can play Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. It's on the Google Play Store instead of being on Stadia. People would go that, oh my goodness, I'm playing this and I'm playing this on my mobile phone. That totally and utterly makes sense. And I just hope that they actually come out and actually put that into fruition. But that's assuming they're going to be talking to each other, and we know what that's been like up until this point.
Yeah. Fair enough. It'll be interesting to see what continues to happen with this platform. And they have so many, we talk about this a lot, so many different things they can do at Google. I mean, they have YouTube, guys. Let's be real, right? It's another thing they can tap into with just the amount of users on the platform, streamers, right? They can cater to that market as well. So they have, it's not like they don't have a project market that they can target. It's just which one and are they going to do it is the question, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to unfold. But yeah, anyone else for Google Stadia? If not, we're going to move to some shadow speculation. All right, we're going. All right, so Shadow's going to be hosting an event on Twitch December 16th at 7 p.m. UCT. So this is supposed to be the new Shadow, roadmap, which we talk about here, right? So they are going to talk about the releases for 2022, from what this is saying. They're going to introduce Eric, which is the new CEO, for the first time, public appearance. So again, that's supposed to be huge. And then it states they're going to talk about some of the secret future plans. So just want to know, I'm just going to open this up. I'm not going to call on each person. So feel free to just jump in. What's your take on this, number one? What do you think we'll see, number two? And how big of a move is this, number three? So to get started, anyone just jump in and give us your take here.
So I'm really glad they're coming out with this whole little introduction and news and everything, because so far, I mean, a lot of us were talking about Shadow being closed by now, but they haven't. And
Okay.
during their last big Twitch show that they did, they had really kind of laid out what they were looking to do, the scaling back they were doing, and then, rescaling up and coming out with the upgrades and stuff like that. Things that they said they were going to do back then, they've done. So I have a little bit of faith, surprisingly, in Shadow to continue steering the ship right, correcting it. And I hope so, because still, out of all the different cloud PC services I use, even though we've got that poor aging hardware, it's still the most convenient. A big word of today on the podcast with cloud is, convenience, and Shadow is still the most convenient, most affordable way to go. So I'm really excited to see what they lay out for that. I think the big thing is, besides all the introductions, upgrades. They've got to talk about the future of the hardware. They may not give us the exact launch or prices, although I think they'll get us close. I think that's going to be the main theme of where Shadow's going, where's the hardware going, and when might we see these kind of rollouts happen. Because they did say by the end of the year they would start announcing what kind of upgrade tiers there would be, and also what free upgrades, what would Boost become, because they did mention making Boost better, because it needs to be where it's at. So I think that's what we'll see from them, mostly concentrated on hardware.
Cool. Pricing wise, any speculation as to what you think we'll see and what
I think
to see?
I don't know what they'll announce, but I think ultimately they'll slightly upgrade the Boost tier just to make at least the CPU side, and who knows what else they'll do, a little better. I don't know if it's going to be hand-me-down stuff from other things or new stuff. So, but I don't think the price will change. I think they'll try to keep that 30. I think it's 30 plus storage for that. And then new tiers. I think that's going to be the big one. They're going to have a tiered service, and that can go anywhere from up to 40 or 50 for the next tier, even 60, and then up to 80 or 100 a month for whatever the next one could be. Cloud PCs are never going to be as affordable as cloud gaming. The beast is so different. You're always going to pay a much higher price for a full-blown Windows cloud PC versus just a cloud gaming service or platform. So even the $30 that Shadow offers now is very low in the space of cloud gaming costs. So, but
Yeah, I mean, people complain about GeForce Now 3080 being expensive.
Dude, that's cheap. That's the most affordable you'll ever get your hands on the 3080 for
crazy.
The next 4 years. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that, GTP. Anyone else want to put your take on Shadow?
Well, for me, I'm actually running away from Shadow. They dropped that. It's not their fault. They've got business models and they have to make a revenue and you have to make money. But if them tiers go up to $100, I am staying away, no matter what they offer. I loved my Shadow and I wanted Infinite tier last year, and I thought that was a great price. And of course, it wasn't affordable for them. So I want them to see how they can get together, use their brains, and sort of still make a profit, but still be consumer friendly, to get me back into the service, because I really want to invest into Shadow's new move go forward, but not at a huge cash injection, especially when I've got upgraded Series X blades, I've got Luna doing a push in resolution maybe in the future, and I've got the 3080 on GeForce Now and Stadia up to 4K 60. Because to me, Shadow, I know it offers more power to be a PC in the cloud, but to me, I only still see it as a cloud PC that I can have multiple clients on and just have a great experience with my games. So I'm still seeing it as a gaming service.
True. And I think it was Monkey that was saying last podcast that he's actually gonna cancel his Shadow subscription because of the 3080 Ti and GFN. So I think you're, yeah. I
And
get they
and Monk,
gotta go ahead. Go ahead.
and monkeys like me, we would always talk about the games, like the games that we couldn't get on other services, and it's like, oh well, let's go to Shadow because that's the only place to play.
Yeah,
But we don't want to pay at a premium cost.
yeah,
So
yeah. They got to figure the pricing right. I get what you're saying, GTP. Like virtual PCs, I mean, you look at what Microsoft is offering for the Office 365. It's ridiculous, right? So the price is going to be high, but man, are people? I mean, when Ultra and Infinite existed, people thought those tiers were expensive, and to have Boost start at 30 is just like, holy smokes, are people going to be willing to pay 60 for Infinite, 89.99, 90 to 100 for I mean 50 for Ultra, almost 100 for Infinite. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it really depends on the hardware. The only thing I like that Shadow has mentioned is like trying to offset that cost by leasing these same rigs at a much higher rate to corporations and to the business side of the model, and then of course having the consumer side. That could help keep the prices down if they're able to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Exciting stuff though, for sure. Again, people were asking about what's happening with this platform, so it's good to see at least we have a date of some news coming. Anyone else for ShadowPc? All right. So let's move on to Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is the last platform we're gonna cover, and then we're gonna we have some questions for Regina, so we're gonna ask some of those questions. But yeah, let's talk about this. I would say the biggest news for this platform is Halo Infinite campaign coming. I just want to open that up to the panel. Have you guys tested that in cloud, and if so, how was the performance? Xbox Cloud Gaming, I would say the biggest thing that needs to work on is just being consistent. We've talked about that, and I'll be the first to say first of all, when Halo launched, you couldn't get into that for quite some time, the campaign. But second of all, after I played it for the first time, it was a terrible experience, but it makes sense. The service probably, overloaded with that game being as popular as it is. But then later on that day I played it, worked well. The next day I went on, issues again. So again, consistency for me is just not happening with Xbox Cloud Gaming. Just want to check in with you guys, see how your experience has been with Halo Infinite. So we'll start with you, Holt. What's your take on Halo Infinite campaign?
Well, Halo Infinite campaign coming to, consoles and taking the hybrid approach going to cloud was a must for me, because this is the type of game where I would like to show my friends, look at this, look, Halo's on the cloud, finally, this is amazing, this is the new Halo, and this is the way we can game. And when I tried to get in it, I couldn't at first because I knew everyone was trying to get on it. So I was like, okay, maybe the servers are getting overloaded. So then I was like, okay, well, I've got it downloaded on my Series X, so I'll jump in for now. And then my bandwidth for like half an hour was throttled there, and it was just going a few kilobits per second. And I was like, oh no. But I was still excited that a lot of people was actually trying to play this game. So it really hyped me up. And then when I actually got in it, I thought, wow, this is a good game. I really enjoyed it. I put like 5 hours in, and I was just getting blown away. I had to step back for a little bit of breather, because it was like at parts it was like 2 action packs, so I took my headphones off. But that's what I want from Halo. That's the experience that I want from this game, and this is something that I would like to bring a phone or an iPad or a certain device, or I would go to my friend's web browser without carrying any additional hardware and just say, look at this. It is Halo Infinite. And they hit it well for me.
Good.
So
I'm glad you said that, because the game itself, just want to point that out, the single play campaign is absolutely incredible. I love it. The guns feel good, the movement feels great. And when it works, man, it's so brilliant. So shout out to Bungie for that.
Because Forza Horizon 5 done so well, like 10 million plus people accessed it through like Game Pass and stuff like that. I knew that this game was going to be bombarded by the same amount of players, because it's Halo or more. So that's where my expectation was saying, okay, I'll give it a little pass for a bit, but I can't be playing this game taking hits all month round. Microsoft has to sort of fine tune it, and then we can all have a great experience on Halo.
True.
Because xCloud for me, the last year or so has really ran well, but maybe because I'm playing certain selected games. This is like the first like AAA, big, huge, high game that they've really brought that's blown people's minds. So right. I don't want to go forward seeing other AAA titles coming, and they've all been limited.
True. Good point, Holtz. How about you, GTP? What's your take on Halo in the Clouds campaign?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad that they delayed the additional year for this game, because I think that the reception would be so different from what it is now. Everybody's really praising, well, not Duncan, but everybody out there is praising Halo Infinite. And if it would have come out a year ago, it wouldn't have been on xCloud, because we were still on those old servers at 30 FPS. And even if it would have been there, it would have been abysmal. Trust me, like that, it would have been bad.
That's true. That's a good point.
So it's so cool that it got delayed and didn't only just make the game better, but was able to bring it to cloud on the Series X blades and really make a difference. Now, for me, I didn't have any of those connection issues or couldn't get into the game or had performance problems. I'm very fortunate right here where I'm at. I don't know why. Most of my cloud performance here is so good. And I'm like, we're talking about selling this house in a year, and I don't know. Cloud game, I don't know, because I know I could go a block away and it doesn't work as good, and that's just the truth. So I'm like, should I move or not? Because all these cloud gaming services work so consistent.
Well, we made a joke with Jerry in the Discord, and he was trying to say all year round he was on hit and miss with xCloud. Where me, I was like, it's flawless, and I said to him, you better not get Halo Infinite, and it runs flawless for you, because I won't be happy. And he's like,
is.
And I was like, damn,
it is for me. Yep.
Not your neighborhood.
So I probably will never move, but it's been really good. Now
you should build like a little shed for Holtz. He'll come,
I will. He can come here anytime.
We'll
I got sheds. We can put him in the living room, wherever he wants to go. I know we're ordering Pizza Hut, because every time I talk to him, he's freaking eating Pizza Hut. The only thing I want from xCloud, besides increased resolutions to 1440 and 4K down the road, is a cleaner 1080. I've always said, for me, it's got consistent. The latency has stayed good. I'm really happy with where it's at, except it's still a little bit more pixelated and blocky than I want. I want a cleaner 1080, because everybody else, for the most part, is offering a pretty clean 1080. Luna and GFN and them are just spot on, super clean. But latency and everything has been great. I'm really glad this is on the cloud, because I would not be able to game as much as I am. If I was just gaming on my Series X or my PC, I would be maybe 2 hours into the campaign instead of 5 or 6. And so cloud gaming, while not my main way to game, has become a huge part of my life over the past year, especially with companies like Xbox jumping on board, GFN increasing their quality and that type of thing. So it's just allowed me to experience it a lot more, and it's running great on xCloud for me. I will say, back in the day, they were saying we would get that portable Xbox 360, and we never got it, right? There was this rumor we would get it, and I was always so bummed, because I was like, I want to take my Xbox games with me. I could game so much more, and I've lived long enough to get that far and can finally do that. So technology is a fantastic thing.
That's awesome. Good to hear your take. How about you, Duncan? I called on you this time. What's your take on Halo in the cloud?
I think you must be feeling sick if you remember to call on me. So, Halo being on xCloud, absolutely amazing. We got on nice and early, so we actually got it on as soon as it launched. We didn't have any problems getting onto it, so that was pretty cool. Not a game for me. I'm definitely going to give it a little bit longer. I'm just not liking the guns in it. I don't like changing my gun. I just want to run about with the one gun the whole way through it. Some of them other guns are just the biggest load of nonsense, and it's just like a pain in the backside. You actually go around killing the stuff. But I'm actually glad that it's there, because I know it has an absolutely massive audience. I can tell it's well made. It's a good game, but for me, it's not at the next stage up for me. It's not at a PlayStation sort of level of a game. That's no disrespect or anything like that. For me, I was just looking a bit more from it, but great that so many people are enjoying it. So I'm going to shock people here. If people know Kelly absolutely loves Halo.
Wow, that is shocking.
And she doesn't like it. She has, from what she has started playing, she has not liked it. So
did she say why?
she just doesn't. She's not clicking with it at the moment. So I think she's going to give it a bit more. Like me, she's going to give it a bit more, but it's not clicking with her.
It's your fault, Duncan.
But
You
Duncan-
ruined
My
it.
fault. It's always my
Duncan,
fault.
I can totally relate to Duncan, because to me, Master Chief with that pulse carbine has always been the go-to. It's the epic thing to do. And when I played the game and ran out of ammo, I was like, no, I'm never throwing this weapon away. So I was just running around, melee people dying, and I was like, okay, I have to move on and try other weapons, which is not really, I don't really try the plasma weapons or the alien weapons, but in this game, it's forced me to, because the habitat and the gameplay and the mechanics, it's forced me to use other weapons that I wouldn't use. So I'm really enjoying it, that it's actually keeping me on my toes than actually going, oh, look, here's some random ammo that's compatible with this rifle that's not been here in 1,000 years. So it's like, to me, it's great that you've got this.
But this is a great thing about gaming. It's everybody has their different opinions, and there's always going to be games for other people out there. And that's what makes this sort of thing really entertaining to talk about, because everybody's opinion is different.
But you say the humour of them characters, hearing them grunts and brutes and the banished all talk and laugh just has me in hysterics. It just makes me want to see what they say next when they encourage you. Because some of them act cocky, and then when you chase after them, they're like, oh my God, he's going to kill us. Some of them are 40 acts. I'm sure when I started the game, it was like, some of them sounded like Pinocchio out of Shrek movie. And I was like, huh? Is that just my imagination, or are these starting to get more weird, these aliens? But I totally love the banter, and I welcome the design.
That's funny. All right, let's check in with Gamer real quick. What's your take on Halo in the cloud, man?
I think it's great. I spent most of my time there. xCloud, Xbox Cloud Gaming runs impeccably well for me. So, my experiences with it's been fantastic.
That's awesome. Awesome. Good to hear. And Regina, thoughts about Xbox Halo, playing Xbox in the cloud?
I'm gonna come clean and say I haven't played any Halo games since someone put a controller in my hand in I think the second installment and humiliated me in a death match. So don't have super much to add here.
Okay. So would you say you're a fan, or you're not a fan of the franchise as a whole?
So this is gonna come off really nerdy, but I think what Halo did, like the first installment for first-person shooter with sort of the rechargeable shield, was a very interesting addition to the sort of the gaming design landscape. But I have not sort of a super personal relationship to the Halo series as a whole.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Very innovative for sure. You saw a lot of other games try to mimic or copy it. I would even go as far as to say Sony tried to create their own Halo with Killzone, and we all know how that played out, right? But so go ahead. Were you going to say something?
What I like about this, when someone just mentioned the shields, I love actually in this Halo game now that you've got something called Spartan cores. So you can actually sort of upgrade your Master Chief to your certain play style. So you can have like different shields, different grapples, and that's as far as I've got at the moment. But I know that we can sort of customize it. So I'm sort of welcome that approach.
Awesome. Let's get into the last segment of this podcast. And Regina, the floor is yours. We're going to ask you some questions about just you and how you got into gaming, and also just how it was bringing this game to Google Stadia. So just tell the people, how did you get into gaming?
Oh, like I guess I kind of grew up with gaming. Like my cousin played a lot of games around me, and it sort of just was around me. Like I remember, I think Game Boy was my first sort of console I played on, and then like at Christmas I got a PlayStation 1, and started playing Spyro and like Kingsley's Adventure and like all of these games that sort of just, it really got me hooked into games in general. And then sort of at some point I transitioned into PC, and like I had a lot of friends playing like Warcraft 3, and I kind of picked up the game, and like real-time strategy was not my forte, but like the world editor, when I sort of found my way in there and started making custom games, that sort of, I guess that was the start of my game designing career. I didn't know it at the point. I just had so much fun making all of these crazy levels, and I don't know. After that, sort of everything played a lot of different games after that.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you have a favorite gaming franchise or favorite console
Ooh.
too?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I mean, I really like RPGs, but
Look at this guy.
I was like, RPG, yeah, boo RTS, yes, RPG, that's it.
I mean, BioWare in general, I love their game, and the Telltale games, like the way they sort of start to focus on the narrative and the like leaning heavily into sort of cinematography and making really story heavy stuff. That's something I really, really like.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. So tell us more about Wavetale. How did that game come about? Like how long was the idea in the making, and how long did the game take to create? I know it's a lot of questions, but let me know if you want me to repeat.
No. So I think like Wavetale was originally the brainchild of our creative director Andreas Beyer, and it started out like I think a year before I joined the team, with like a small scope exploration, just figuring out what it could be, and like this idea of a girl running on the water. I think the production itself was about 2 years ish for the team.
Okay.
And like once again, making a game is a team effort. So like you get tons of different influences from a lot of different sources when creating them. And to me, it's always been sort of this, I don't know, child dream almost, just looking at the ocean and being able to sort of just walk out of it, just keep going. And I don't know, it's something very childhood over it.
Yeah.
And like we're taking a lot of inspiration from like the Gothenburg harbor city, sort of the coastline. So I guess it's a very personal project to a lot of the developers on the team.
That's awesome. The game came out great, I would say. We covered it in the channel, doing some gameplay footage of it, and everything, like we all agreed here that it just ran so smooth. It looked good, story-wise too. It's pretty impressive. But just want to know, like, how did it come to Google Stadia? Why did you guys choose that platform over the others? Can you talk about that or no?
I think I think Stadia was just a good fit for the game, and I think like Stadia felt the same. Like I guess Google were looking for their market, and we had like this vision for this game, and I think I don't know. I guess we both sort of aligned on the vision or the thought for it.
That's cool. That's cool. And just want to know, what's your take about just cloud gaming as a whole? What are some of the challenges that you guys had designing this game for like a cloud gaming platform?
I mean, I guess every time a new platform drops, me as a designer always get very excited, because every platform comes with its own kinks and its own sort of, how do you deal with this? And for me, in like designing the movement for Wavetale, it's like the first thing I have to look at. Okay, so we have this delay sort of inherently built into the system, and how do we deal with this, and how do we solve it, and those sort of things. And so I mean, in general, there's always a lot of interesting stuff to look at. I would say like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say, like, was there like any complications designing this game for the cloud?
I mean, as you might have noticed, Wavetale is a very movement sort of focused game, and throughout the process, we always had to sort of rediscover, like, oh, are we making the platform too narrow? Are we making it like it makes sense on a local computer, but playing it on the cloud? How does that work? So we kind of built in, or tried to build in, this sort of micro mechanics that sort of compensates for input delay, and making sure that it runs smoothly even when your connection isn't that top.
Okay. Yeah, that's a huge challenge, right? Designing for the cloud. Panel members, feel free to ask any questions. But the last one I'm gonna ask you, so I can give others a chance to ask. Where do you see the future designing a game for the cloud. I'm sure it's a huge accomplishment, but where do you see the future of cloud gaming as a whole, and where do you see the future of this franchise Wavetale going?
Oh, I guess I'll start in one of the ends, and that's
Yeah.
the future of cloud gaming.
Cloud gaming, yeah.
To me, there's just tons of potential with this because you're not bound to the local hardware. So,
right.
I guess on some levels, the sky is the limit. What you can put in these games, I think we're already seeing games expanding in sizes. Like you're almost shipping the latest AAA on like a hard drive in terms of just size, and that's something that's just so convenient with like cloud gaming. There's no need to take consideration for like, oh, this game is 10,000 gigabyte large. We can just sort of make sure it fits. I also think there's a few different ways to me that the cloud gaming can proceed. I guess internet and like connection is always like being improved on like across the board, like not only for the cloud gaming, but like for streaming services in general. And I guess like a lot of games are already playing so smoothly on the cloud that it's like I'm so impressed with the technology.
Right.
And like just proceeding onwards, I'm gonna just assume we're gonna hit sort of smaller and smaller like differences in input lag across the board. But I'm also really interested to see when people start developing games specifically for the cloud. Like, I think like we see the games we see today are obviously a sort of a child of the platform they're at. Like we didn't see like third-person shooter at the SNES generation because that platform couldn't handle it. So they made games that sort of were available for that platform.
It's true. Yeah.
So what kind of games would we see that sort of designed with the cloud in mind?
Yeah.
Like maybe in terms of scope, maybe in terms of connectivity, maybe in terms of just sheer size of the files or how the players interact with them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's something a lot of us on this panel is excited about. And I think like cloud gaming as a whole, one of the push that Stadia made at GDC is like selling that dream, right? What it'll look like for games being designed in the cloud, right? Not being limited to local, just the possibilities. And yeah, I agree. That's definitely something to be excited about, the future of that. Just want to know, do your studio, do you think you guys are gonna head that route? Sorry, I know I said this is the last question. I just have so much I want to ask. Do you guys feel like you're gonna head that route to develop or create your next game, or just games in general with a cloud only focus?
So I don't think we have any other cloud-based titles announced at this point. But we have like the Steam World series, like the Dig 1 and 2 and Heist and Quest there. And I presume we're going to see more of it going forward. But like we're always, I guess, interested in looking where our players are and how the players would interact with the game.
True. Okay. Man, I have like 2 more questions, but I'm going to shut my mouth. Anyone else from the panel?
You gotta share.
Huh?
I said you gotta share.
Oh, yeah? All right, so I'm going to ask this one. I promise my last one, right? So based on all the platform that we talked about today, and, you know, I know you're getting used to cloud gaming as a whole, like which one do you think stands out to you? Which one are you just like really excited about for the future of cloud gaming as a whole?
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I am very biased since I've been working so closely with Stadia for the last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I find like Stadia, like I said, I guess on some level it's about convenience. And right now I find Stadia very convenient.
True.
Just, you know, I spend a lot of time in front of my computer all days, and sometimes I guess I almost get afraid of committing to sitting in the sofa. And that's the nice thing with Stadia is that I just sort of start playing in the sofa and like, nah, I don't want to sit in the sofa. I go to the bedroom instead, and I can just sort of bring the game with me because I have another TV there.
Yeah.
I guess this is a very first world problem, but I always seems to place my consoles in the wrong room compared to where I want. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the other room, and like was something I really liked with the Switch.
Yeah.
You know, just the convenience of being
Yeah.
able to like, no, I don't want to be here anymore. Let's move on.
True. True.
And I feel like Switch is obviously better for like on the go, but being confined to my house, as many others for the last pandemic, I found like Stadia super convenient and just having it on the phone. Now it's on the TV. Now it's on the computer screen.
Yeah. Convenience when it comes to cloud, like you're saying, and a lot of people echoed here, it's a huge selling factor. And just like you, before this, you know, I used to cover the Nintendo Switch, and the Switch, I would say, is what really got me excited for cloud gaming. Just being able to play, you know, I work, I have a business, I'm always out and about, and it's hard for me to sit down and game, right? So just being able to play games wherever I go or travel to was a huge selling point for Google Stadia and just cloud gaming as a whole for me. So it's pretty cool to see that for you as well.
Yeah, because I work a lot, and like these huge AAA titles, like it's hard to convince yourself like, oh, you're gonna play this game and you have 60 hours to invest into it, even though I'd love to do it. And for me, sort of being able to just start it up in my bed and not be like, it's kind of eases that sort of initial gap for me.
Yeah, true. Awesome. Again, don't want to take all the time here. Anyone else have any questions to ask Regina?
I just have a simple one about Wavetale on Stadia, and it was really cool to hear you talk about the development of that game being so specific to cloud and to the different devices and how you really had to take into account all those things, because it really shows in a game like that it was really built for the platform, and I hope we see more of that. One of the things I was so curious about, because I did just start playing the game last night, and I'm only about an hour or so of time into it, and off the bat, like the first 20 minutes, the traversing the world and the movement, and I heard you say you were part of the design of the movement for the game. It's my favorite part of the game so far.
It's fun.
So my thing, so I'm playing the game, like I'm seeing all these other games and movies in this, like all this inspiration to me as I'm traveling around. I'm just wondering, were there any specific games or movies that kind of inspired you in how you created the movement for that game?
Oh wow! So there's, like I said, there's like a crock pot of inspiration working with. But like we had a lot of inspiration from Miyazaki movies like Spirited Away and Ponyo, like are huge reference points for me. And we definitely looked like old school snowboard game, and to me, like Tony Hawk, you know, the underground games, like kind of mind-blowing to me as a kid. Like, you can have the skateboard and then you can jump off the skateboard. So I tried to incorporate some of that into the game. And like another sort of outlier is the game called Jedi Knight Academy that sort of has this super fluid movement with Jedi and use the Force, and that's a game that sort of I remember from my childhood and had a lot of inspiration for the moveset in this game. But it's very much all over the place.
I thought so. I just love the movie. I really like it. And I could tell there was so much inspiration from so many areas that went into that. There's probably more than most people would think just in the movement of that game, what it took and what inspired it. But really cool, really well done.
I'm very curious to hear sort of what inspiration do you see, or sort of what do you read from it?
Well, the stuff that you've named is spot on. It's funny you say the Tony Hawk thing, because that was one of my things, like feeling like I'm getting on and off the skateboard and doing tricks and stuff, and I'm going through the water. You know, visually it felt really good because I was like in between like a Sea of Thieves, Wind Waker kind of feel, but it had a culture in it, which was cool to hear you say. It was very personal for a lot of people for your coastline that were working on it. Made sense, because I was like, I can see the care and how personal this area was, even though I see all these other inspirations. So it's been a great game. I recommend anybody that hasn't tried it out on Stadia to do it, because I'm really surprised.
Yeah, I would say personally that's probably one of my biggest Stadia highlights this year. You know, there's been several games that came from the Makers program, but this one definitely stands out for sure. Gamer, I did want to ask from an ex-dev, do you have any question for Regina?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just really curious to hear your take on deving in the cloud using Stadia's dev kit versus local, or was it more of a process where you started local and then moved over to Stadia? Like, how did you guys handle deving the game in general?
So I guess it's a little bit back and forth. In earlier, some things you can very much do locally. Trying to figure out the art style, trying to figure out sort of the core pieces. But towards the end of the process, I feel like this is a game that's going to be experienced in the cloud. Like this has to be tested and developed sort of in the cloud. And I feel like Google, like Stadia, offered like a lot of very good and easy tool to work with in the dev kit. So I've been very pleased with the experience personally. It's been very, very simple to sort of work locally and shift to the cloud and sort of back and forth.
Oh, cool. No, that's what I figured that, because some devs, they love developing in the cloud and also on the platform where the game will actually be played, right? It just keeps it simple and easy for testing and QA. Did you guys perform like an internal QA as you sort of like more of the agile model of testing and QA, or was it more of like a waterfall thing where you wait until you finished large chunks of work and then you're like, okay, we'll test here? Or did you guys just test after each sprint? I mean, I know some people don't understand sprints, but I'm just asking that.
As I was just going to jump in there, it might be worth maybe talking about what waterfall is and what a sprint is, so maybe people would understand that.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah. But you can touch on that if you want to, Regina.
No, I like the general approach with waterfall is you kind of plan out the broader strokes ahead, and you try to sort of, okay, this is the project, this is the scope, these are the things we're gonna do, and then you do it, and that worked great for some products. And then you have the agile sort of approach where you're like developing in sprint, and you're trying to, I guess, on sort of making it very contrasted or sort of broken down. It's like you try to have a product ready after every sprint, and that sprint is sort of split up in different. And I think most gaming industries or companies work with some sort of approach to agile development. I think you usually try to plan out as much as you can, but games are very sort of, they take on a life of their own. Something that sounds good on paper doesn't necessarily always translate very well into an actual gaming experience. So,
the reason why I asked that question is because I've found a lot of ports for Stadia or even games developed on Stadia they just weren't that great. And I was really impressed with Wavetale. Like, I could see that there was a lot of care and a lot of QA and a lot of testing that went on in this game. I ran into absolutely zero issues while playing it. So I asked because I could tell that you guys actually tested this thing at every step, and you followed an agile approach to development. It was clear, but sometimes I just doubt that other studios did the same on Stadia. I'm like, how did you guys develop this thing? Did you just go waterfall when you shouldn't have? I mean, so that's why I wanted to get that out there. So kudos to you guys and your team.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, for the sake of time, we're gonna kind of wrap this up, but Regina, thanks so much for taking the time to answer the question, and thanks so much for joining this panel. I know it's late for you, but you came, so we really appreciate that, and hopefully the viewers and the panel members, enjoyed that as well. So thank you.
Yeah, this was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna take a little bit to ask what you guys are doing, panel members, and update the viewers on where they can find you, what you guys doing. And to get started with that, GTP, what do you do, sir, and where can people find you?
Yeah, guys, Game Tech Planet on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Variety gaming content for everything console, cloud, and PC that I can fit in when I'm not playing Halo.
Cool. Duncan, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
You know me, I'm getting shouted at by everybody. Everybody knows that. what we're working on at the moment, I think everybody here is probably going to be working on that, is we're going to be doing our end of year reviews on all the different platforms and looking forward to next year and what we want to see happen. So I just want to say thank you for people for voting in the Cloud Gaming Awards. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking part. And thank you guys for your support as well.
Cool. Good to have you in, Duncan. How about you, Holtz? What do you do? Where can people find you?
So this time of year, I'm just torn between all the other franchises and games and hardware that I've actually bought over the years. So I'm just now trying to catch up and actually finishing all the stuff I've bought, and trying to juggle that with actually my TV shows that I fell behind with, so the Marvel and DC. So this holiday season, I'm just actually going to kick off, relax, and just trying to enjoy the media and content that I've got. I know I should be setting up my YouTube channel. I've actually still got the avatar sitting there from like 6 weeks ago. I paid for the live TV 2D character and it's just sitting there. And I know I should actually get round, sit on my desk and put some love into that, but I'm just happy sitting off playing the games of Halo. It's the gaming industry. It's dragging me away from my other passions.
For sure, you got to get on that, Holtz, man. But good to see you. Take some time, especially this time of the year, just to relax, enjoy family and friends. Good stuff. Gamer, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
You know, I don't do a whole lot these days, but you can find me on Twitter. That's where I spend most of the time. I have a YouTube channel that's linked. I don't even remember the name of that channel, to be honest with you, but I know it's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm just living life, man.
that's awesome. Always a pleasure to have you in the panel. So
Same.
thanks for being here for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Regina, is there anything that you want to plug? Let people know where they can find you and what you do.
I think I have a Twitter, but I don't use it very often. But I think it's just at Regina Rova. But I recommend following the Thunderful social platforms, all of them, to get a sort of hint at what I might be working on.
Cool. So good to have you in here. And again, thank you for just being here and answering a lot of the questions that we had for you. So appreciate it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, the viewers. And again, this is going to be airing in your favorite audio podcast. So Spotify, Apple, whatever they call it over there, Google Play Podcasts, catch it on there as well. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Till next time. Bye, y'all.